Randy, you've been doing business book synopses for 20 years. What's the most important thing you've ever read in any of them? I'm about to tell you. Turn to page 2. You've got some white space. I want you to write down an acronym. VUCA. V-U-C-A. VUCA. It stands for volatility, uncertainty, complexity, ambiguity. That's the reality of the current generation. It was actually developed by the Army War College, the training ground for generals, but it was Bob Johansen who introduced me to it in a book called Get There Early. And VUCA is one of the most profound ideas I've ever read. So this book, The New Leadership Literacies, Thriving in a Future of Extreme Disruption and Distributed Everything, is the book to help you think about what's coming round the mountain. And this is a terrific book. So, on page 2, why is this book worth our time? Number 1, Bob Johansen is a future thinker and has been for decades. He has been right often. This book is his next look at the future. Number 2, we will have to do things differently. We will have to be different in this different future. This book will help us know how to do and be different. Number 3, this book helps us think further about the challenge of this VUCA world. Now, I'm going to read again some excerpts before we get to the other part of the handout. Number 1, we think we are connected today, but the next 10 years will be a period of explosive connectivity and asymmetric upheaval. Anything that can be distributed will be distributed. Most leaders and most organizations aren't ready for this future. Number 4, enduring leadership qualities like strength, humility, and trust will still be foundational, but the future will require new literacies for leading. Turn to page 3. Number 13, the shift from centralized to distributed organizations has already begun. But the current leadership literacy inherited from large centralized organizations isn't ready for a future when anything that can be distributed will be distributed. Truly distributed organizations that have no center grow from the edges and cannot be controlled. Number 15, this is what he is known for partly. Action without foresight and without insight will be dumb, dangerous, or both. Now everybody circle the word insight. He says, and this is Randy Mayu's phrase, when you have a moment of insight, everything changes. Thomas Kuhn might have described that as a moment of a true paradigm shift. But when this insight comes, everything changes. Foresight will put you in a position to have the insight. So that's the key. Seldom do I put simply the table of contents at the front, but notice the chapters in bold. Here are the 5 literacies. Number 1, the new literacy of looking backward from the future. Here's what he says. Don't try to figure out where things are. Don't try to figure out where things are going to be tomorrow. Figure out where things are going to be 10 years from now, and then work backwards. That's what his firm, Institute for the Future, is hired to do, and they are very good. If you remember the RAND Corporation, well, that's the birthplace of the Institute for the Future. All right, chapter 3, the second literacy. Bottom of the page, 8 lessons and takeaways very quickly. Put anti-fragile into practice. Stress yourself on purpose in games and guilds so that you can build the future. Number 8, this is a new way of saying this. When you walk into a room, you are an energy drainer or an energy sharer. He says be a chi booster, not a chi sucker. So boost somebody else's chi. That's it. The new Leadership Literacies, Thriving in a Future of Extreme Disruption and Distributed Everything by Bob Johansen. A profound book. Hope you found this useful.